Leaders of the Green Party have been in Suffolk today to launch their local election campaign. They came here because they have high hopes of taking control at Mid-Suffolk Council. That would be a national first. In a moment, what co-leader Adrian Ramsey had to say to me this morning. But first, our political correspondent Andrew Sinclair on the party's rise in popularity across the region.
Yay! This is a party that's going into these elections feeling very confident, particularly in this region, which is why the national campaign launch was held in Stowmarket.
This is a critical year for us. In towns and cities and villages all over the country, Greens are gaining the trust and confidence of voters.
A lot of effort is going into Mid-Suffolk. The Greens are already the main opposition here. 6 gains from the Conservatives, which they think is possible, would see them take control. In fact, the party has been doing well in Suffolk for some time. The planned development of Sizewell and worries about the impact of offshore energy on the countryside means that the environment is a big issue round here. The Greens have been part of East Anglian politics for the last 25 years. 12 years ago, they had just 29 councillors across the region, the majority of them in Norwich. Now they have 80 across 22 district, city and county councils, ranging from just 1 or 2 in places, shown here in very light green, to having more than 10 in areas coloured dark green. Growing public awareness of climate change has helped swell their support, but that's forced other political parties to also embrace green issues, which opinion pollsters warn could be a problem.
The Green Party as a single issue party have sort of been outflanked really by the major parties. They are no longer really the party of the environment. All of the other parties are trying to do very similar because they know that it is important to voters.
Water quality is being talked about in these elections, so too congestion charging and public transport, all big green issues. In national opinion polls, the Greens are polling at only around 4 or 5%. Proof, say their opponents, that they're only a pressure group, not a serious political party, and a place for protest votes in local elections. But the Greens believe public opinion is changing, something they hope these elections will prove. Andrew Sinclair, BBC Look East, Suffolk.
Well, I was at that launch today and spoke afterwards to Adrian Ramsey, the party's co-leader, and put it to him. The Green Party still has a long way to go, with no councils and no MPs in this region.
Well, what we've seen over the last 3 sets of local elections is an unprecedented major growth in the number of Green councillors across our region and across the country, gains from Labour and the Conservatives in rural and urban areas alike. And we're confident of that success continuing.
Where are you expecting these votes to come from then? Because in Suffolk, this is traditionally a real Conservative heartland. Are you expecting Tory voters to vote Green?
We get support from all of the other parties, people who say to us that they want a change from this government, both traditional Conservative voters and people who have always opposed the Conservatives, and people are uninspired by Labour and looking to come behind the Green Party as a fresh alternative.
So it's a protest vote then you're after, is it?
No, not at all. People have seen that they've got Greens elected as local councillors that make a real difference in standing up for their community. And we can do that in ever greater numbers and look to get Greens in charge of councils and in positions of real power and influence in local government across the region.
I'm just wondering if some people in this region will be looking to vote Green because they don't like, for example, what's happening on the Suffolk coast at Sizewell. Another reason to protest and vote Green.
There's lots of concerns about Sizewell in terms of the local impacts and the fact that it's hugely expensive and will only start generating new energy in well over a decade's time, and actually we need to be addressing the energy crisis far sooner than that, which is why Greens are arguing for other solutions like putting our focus on renewable energy in measures that reduce energy use, home insulation for example, that if we focus on that could keep people's bills down.
When you talk about renewable energy, again, real big plans for big infrastructure coming to Suffolk, a substation at Friston, about 28 miles of the east of where we are now, to bring offshore energy onshore, and then 180 kilometres of pylons to take that energy into London. Now that is not popular.
There are big concerns locally about the pylons. Of course, we want to see far more renewable energy. We want to see the infrastructure developed in a way that's in harmony with local communities. So, for example, we supported the local campaign saying that the National Grid should be looking at all the options, including an undersea option for connectivity.
Very expensive option.
Well, what we've seen from various studies is that if you move away from looking at the infrastructure one project at a time, and if we get the renewable energy options right, there are huge opportunities for jobs in this region, for businesses, for keeping people's bills down through moving away from our dependence on ever increasing costs of gas.
Adrian Ramsey, thank you very much.
Thank you.